Have you ever wondered why some people just fade out of your life? Why certain friendships that once felt unbreakable slowly dissolve without a fight? And have you ever questioned if it's your fault? Or if maybe, just maybe, it's life working as it should? If these questions echo in your heart, then this message is for you. Before we dive in, if you're on a journey of self-improvement, emotional strength, and inner peace, make sure to subscribe. This space is dedicated to helping you grow wiser, calmer, and stronger, one insight at a time. Now let's talk about one of the most powerful lessons life has to offer: letting go without fear. 1. When friendships drift, let them drift. We all experience it at some point. A friendship begins with spark, constant laughter, meaningful conversations, spontaneous plans, and a comforting sense of belonging. In those early days, it may feel as though this bond could last forever, but time has a quiet way of reshaping even the most vibrant connections. Slowly, the daily messages dwindle. The long calls that once brought comfort become rare. Until one day, you notice a silence where there used to be warmth. This slow fading isn't always rooted in betrayal, misunderstanding, or neglect. More often, it's simply the rhythm of life unfolding. People grow, their priorities shift. Career demands, family responsibilities, personal transformations, all of these can redirect someone's path. And sometimes their path no longer runs parallel to yours. From a Stoic perspective, we are reminded that impermanence is the rule, not the exception. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Everything that exists is in a state of change. That includes the relationships we cherish." The natural ebb and flow of connection doesn't mean something went wrong. It means life is in motion. We shouldn't resist this motion or feel ashamed when a friendship drifts away. Instead, we can acknowledge it with grace. Letting a friendship drift doesn't mean erasing the memories or disregarding the impact that person had on you. It simply means accepting that their role may have come to a natural pause or end. Clinging to something that has run its course creates unnecessary suffering. The Stoics teach us to focus on what we can control. You can't control whether someone stays in touch, but you can control how you respond. Choose peace over resistance. Let go with understanding, let them drift. 2. Accept that not everyone is meant to stay. There's a quiet pain that comes with realizing a once close person no longer fits into your life. It can feel like a loss, like something has been taken from you. But one of the hardest and most liberating truths is this: not everyone is meant to stay forever. Some people are only meant to walk beside us for a season, and that is not a failure. That is life. Each person who enters your world brings something with them: a lesson, a moment of joy, a shared struggle, or a needed challenge. They may have helped you grow in ways you didn't even realize at the time. But growth is not always mutual. Just as a tree sheds its leaves when the time is right, we too must release relationships that no longer serve our journey. When we hold on tightly to someone who is meant to leave, we create tension and emotional exhaustion. We replay the past, trying to fix what was never broken, only evolved. Stoicism invites us to examine our attachments. Epictetus warned against placing our happiness in the hands of external things, including people. Clinging to someone who has outgrown their place in your life is like grasping at smoke. The more you try to hold it, the more it slips through your fingers. Letting go doesn't have to come with anger or bitterness. It can be a gentle act. You can thank the person in your heart. You can honor what you shared and then move forward. You don't need to burn the bridge. Just stop standing on it, waiting for someone who has already moved on. Growth demands space. Releasing outdated bonds clears room for something new, perhaps a deeper friendship, a fuller version of yourself, or a quiet peace that comes from no longer forcing what no longer fits. 3. True friendship reveals itself in silence. It's easy to feel surrounded when life is going well, when you're laughing, succeeding, and radiating good energy. But what about when you're not? What about when things fall apart, when your enthusiasm fades, when you have nothing to offer anyone? That's when true friendship reveals itself. In the quiet, in the struggle, in the absence of applause. There is something deeply telling about who remains when life is no longer convenient. Some people disappear when your glow dims. They were there for the fun, not for the full picture. Others, however, remain. They don't need to talk every day or show up with grand gestures. Their presence is quiet but unwavering. They check in when they sense your silence. They don't need a reason. They simply care. In those moments, silence becomes a mirror. You begin to see clearly. Who reached out? Who didn't? Who offered presence, not because they needed something, but because they wanted nothing in return? You are. Stoics believe that virtue lies in action, not in words. A true friend acts with loyalty, compassion, and steadiness. They are not swayed by temporary circumstances. Seneca once wrote, "A friend is someone who watches over you as a god would." That doesn't mean worship or dependence. It means someone who sees you with clarity and chooses to stand by you, even in the storm. We often waste energy chasing after people who vanished when we needed them most. But it's better to let the silence sort the genuine from the shallow. Don't fear that quiet. It's a gift. It shows you who's real. 4. Choose depth over numbers. We live in an age of quantity, followers, likes, group chats, events. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that having more people around us equates to having more love, more support, more validation. But, often, this crowd only adds noise, not meaning. Stoicism teaches us to value depth over width. Marcus Aurelius emphasized self-sufficiency and the importance of cultivating meaningful connections, not collecting shallow ones. A single sincere friend, someone who listens without judgment, supports without conditions, and speaks truth with kindness, is worth far more than dozens who only show up when it's convenient. Surface-level relationships can fill your calendar, but they rarely feed your soul. You may have conversations, but not connection. Interaction, but not intimacy. True friendship requires vulnerability, honesty, and time. Qualities that can't exist when we spread ourselves too thin. Instead of seeking to be known by many, seek to be deeply understood by a few. Focus on those who nourish your spirit, who challenge you to grow and who celebrate your victories without envy. These are the relationships that last. These are the ones that weather storms, not just sunny days. The Stoics would urge us to ask, is this relationship making me a better person? If the answer is no, it may be time to reassess. Fewer, deeper connections bring more peace, more fulfillment, and more resilience than a crowd ever could. 5. Protect your peace from toxic ties. Some relationships don't just naturally drift apart. They erode you. They start quietly, disguised as companionship, but over time, they chip away at your sense of peace, self-worth, and emotional stability. These are not connections that nurture you. They're emotional entanglements that wear you down. And while the word toxic may sound dramatic, the effects of such relationships are very real. Constant anxiety, self-doubt, emotional fatigue, and sometimes even physical symptoms like headaches or insomnia. Toxic ties often come wrapped in guilt and manipulation. They may come from people you've known for years, childhood friends, relatives, or longtime companions. That history makes it harder to walk away. You may find yourself justifying their behavior because you shared memories, laughs, or hard times. But here's the truth. History doesn't excuse harm. Emotional debt is not a reason to stay chained to someone who consistently drains you. Protecting your peace begins with awareness. Start by noticing how you feel after interacting with someone. Do you feel uplifted or depleted, energized or emotionally wrecked? Does their presence make you question your worth, your decisions, or your reality? If you consistently feel worse after spending time with someone, it's a sign you need to reassess that relationship. Establishing boundaries is the first step to reclaiming your emotional space. This doesn't mean cutting people off without warning. It means clearly communicating what behaviors are unacceptable and what you will no longer tolerate. For example, I will not engage in conversations where I'm belittled or I need space when I feel overwhelmed. If someone respects your boundaries, there's hope for healing. But if they ignore them, mock them, or punish you for setting them, it's time to reevaluate their role in your life. Choosing to walk away from toxic connections is not an act of cruelty. It's self-respect in action. It's the courage to prioritize your well-being over comfort or obligation. Some people are simply not meant to go with you where you're headed. Their role in your story may have ended, and holding on too long can stunt your growth. You don't owe anyone access to your life simply because they've been in it for a long time. Longevity doesn't guarantee loyalty, respect, or love. What matters is how someone treats you now. Are they honest, supportive, and kind? Or do they criticize, manipulate, and undermine you? Protecting your peace isn't selfish. It's essential. It's how you preserve your energy for the people and pursuits that truly matter. Your peace is a sacred space where your thoughts settle, your emotions heal, and your spirit renews. It's the quiet strength behind every wise decision and the foundation of every healthy relationship. So guard it fiercely. Say no when you need to. Walk away when staying costs you your sanity. Let go of guilt and embrace the freedom that comes from knowing you are allowed to put yourself first. You are not being heartless. You are being whole. 6. Learn to be alone and love it. There is a powerful difference between being alone and being lonely. In a world obsessed with connection, where we're constantly checking messages, scrolling social feeds, or surrounding ourselves with noise, solitude often gets mistaken for emptiness. But solitude isn't a void. It's a mirror. It reflects who you are, without the distractions of who the world wants you to be. Learning to be alone is one of the most transformative journeys you can take. It's where the real conversation with yourself begins. In that silence, without external influence, you finally hear the voice that matters most, your own. Alone time gives you the rare opportunity to take inventory of your thoughts and feelings. You can ask yourself questions that often get drowned out in daily life. What do I want? What am I afraid of? What brings me joy? What needs to heal? In solitude, there's no one to perform for, no expectations to meet, just you and your inner truth. It's also where creativity blossoms. Some of the world's greatest thinkers, writers, and artists have found their spark in solitude. That's because when you're alone, your mind is free to wander, to explore, to imagine. You're not too bound by groupthink or societal pressure. You get to dream on your own terms, but to truly embrace being alone, you must shift your perspective. See it not as a punishment or absence of love, but as a form of self-love. When you choose solitude, you're saying, I am enough. You're declaring that your own company is valuable, that you don't need constant validation or companionship to feel complete. At first, solitude can feel uncomfortable. You may experience restlessness, boredom, or even anxiety. That's normal. Most people are not used to being alone with their thoughts, but the discomfort is where growth begins. The more time you spend with yourself, the more familiar you become with your inner world. And eventually, that world becomes a sanctuary rather than a source of discomfort. Solitude builds strength. It teaches you to rely on your own emotional resilience. You stop outsourcing your happiness and start creating it from within. You develop a quiet confidence, the kind that doesn't need an audience to feel secure. Loving your own company is also a form of emotional independence. It ensures that future relationships come from a place of desire, not desperation. You no longer seek others to fill a void. You invite them into a life that's already full. So take yourself on solo walks. Sit in a cafe with just a book. Go off social media for a while. Listen to your thoughts. Journal your dreams. Reconnect with your inner self. You'll be amazed at how rich and fulfilling your own presence can be. Being alone isn't something to avoid. It's something to master. 7. Not every goodbye is a loss. Letting go of someone can feel like a heartbreak. Whether it's a friend you've outgrown, a partner who's changed, or a family member who's become distant, goodbyes can carry a heavy emotional weight. We often grieve the idea of what could have been, what once was, or what we hoped the relationship might turn into. But not every goodbye is a tragedy. Sometimes it's a liberation. There are people who come into our lives for a reason, but not forever. They show up at a specific time, often when we need to learn something vital. Maybe they challenge us. Maybe they trigger our growth. Maybe they mirror a part of ourselves we hadn't seen before. Their role is real, but temporary, and that's okay. Growth is rarely comfortable, and neither are endings, but endings are often necessary. Without them, we remain stuck in patterns that no longer serve us. We cling to comfort zones that prevent us from evolving. Saying goodbye, even when it hurts, can be a powerful act of self-respect. Sometimes we hang on out of guilt or fear. We fear being alone, or we feel bad for leaving someone behind. But staying in a relationship that no longer aligns with who you are is far more damaging than walking away. You begin to shrink yourself to fit the connection. You compromise your values. You lose sight of your own path. Letting go is not about being unkind or cold. It's about recognizing that growth often requires distance. You can honor someone's role in your life without keeping them in it. You can wish them well and still move on. There is wisdom in accepting that some chapters must close for the story to continue. And when you look back, you may realize that goodbye was the turning point, the moment you finally reclaimed your energy, your time, and your future. You are allowed to choose peace over chaos. You are allowed to outgrow people. And you are absolutely allowed to protect your progress by walking away from relationships that hold you back. So if you're mourning a friendship, a connection, or even a dream that didn't work out, give yourself grace. Feel the sadness, but also recognize the gift. Not every goodbye is a loss. Some are the start of something better. So don't fear losing anyone. If they're meant to go, let them. Because what's truly yours will stay. And what leaves was never meant to be yours forever. In letting go, you don't lose. You make space for the people, peace, and purpose that do belong in your life. If this message resonated with you, subscribe for more Stoic insights and self-improvement tools. And remember, your journey is your own. Walk it with clarity, courage, and calm. Are you ready to release what no longer serves you?